Yo, what's good, people? We doing good today. We back with another live stream. Let's transition so that way y'all can see me your views. I did that. Let's tilt that back a little bit. Let's slide that way. Actually, let's do this. Hold on, y'all. There we go. And I need to fix my head. Good God, I hate. Anyway, how y'all doing today? When I get to doing too much. Playing a couple beats. Shout out to my guy, James, Young Freestyle, Kane. One of the coolest people I know. Facts, no cap, as they say. Yeah, it's Anime Wednesdays. We were doing album stuff yesterday. Monday I talked manga. Today we talk anime and all of these live adaptations goings on. And kind of how we feel about them. Because I don't really know how to feel about them. I mean, I guess some of this is kind of akin to like seeing Marvel movies on the big screen and seeing how things would kind of play out. But I feel slightly different about my anime because I think it's a little bit harder to bring those things to life. There's a dance that goes on with trying to bring things to life, obviously. It's an easier dance with Marvel stuff because it's realistic, whereas anime is so huge and over the top. If you don't do it right, you can easily mess it up. So we've had an onslaught of things that have been coming on for at least the past, I want to say probably about 10 years, maybe 5 in terms of like the anime adaptations. There have always been live adaptations probably in Japan that never made it over here that we didn't get to see. But the big thing with all of the current, what am I trying to say? All the current adaptations, man, I lose words way too easily. With all the current adaptations, is they don't have the same warmth to me, or the same topic standing. Meaning, you end up with things like that terrible Death Note adaptation, right? And the Death Note adaptation ends up being kind of just not what you want. You try and take your own spin on it, which is a problem with the way certain people go about trying to make these adaptations. So when you're making these adaptations, you end up in positions where you're trying to make your own story. You're trying to stand out. And it just doesn't work. Because you're going so far off the beaten path that it's kind of hard to take you serious, or even take your story serious because it feels so far from the original story. You want to take things and reinterpret them, reimagine them, because you want to leave your stamp on the industry or your stamp on that story, and you just end up with a hodgepodge of things that people don't like. Because a lot of time, all we want to see is the things that we enjoyed live or animated. That's literally it. We want to see it in a different medium and see how they take that, see how they find locations, see how they use the set to bring these things to a realistic medium. But currently, the 2 or 3 huge animes that are coming to a live action Netflix type thing. Cowboy Bebop is up next week, I believe. Then they're working on the One Piece live action, and they're also now working on a Yuyu Hakusho live action. Which, again, I'm excited about in a certain sense, but I just kind of want to see where they're going to go with it. Yu Yu Hakusho especially is one of those cherished animes for a lot of us that either got us started, was one of the first things that we were watching, something that we're kind of addicted to. It was, I feel like, an inspiration for things like Bleach. Hold on one second, y'all. It's a little hot in here. I got to turn this heat down. All right, that's better. But yeah, so it's such a good anime to use. I have no idea where they're gonna take it though. What their opinions, well, not opinions, but what their options are in regards to making that a live action adaptation. I've seen a potential post, because the thing about the internet and social media is everybody makes their own stories. So you have to really do deep, dark research and make sure that you're actually researching something that is factual, because people will just put up whatever it is they feel like putting up. And with that, I know that One Piece has had a release of some characters, but I'm not quite sure about whether or not those are the actual people that will be playing the characters, or if it's just like a fan made thing. But if it is, I'm excited because I did like at least the look of who they were choosing for the roles, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah, we try to we want something that feels authentic. You know, that's literally all that we want. That's all that we're asking for. All that we're hoping for is, does this feel authentic to something or the thing that we love, the thing that we are wanting to see, right? So it's hard, I think, in a lot of ways to accurately depict the things that you're expecting from certain mediums, right? So all Marvel movies on some level will have something that is not accurate in the way that you want it to be. So whether it's changing the entire world to where, you know, no one, the mutants don't exist, which you know is not an accurate thing to the Marvel universe, and then trying to figure out how to backtrack and make them exist now that you have rights or whatever, right? And you've already done so many movies that it's kind of hard to even make it believable in certain executions if you mess this up, if you're not doing this right. With the passing of Chadwick Boseman, how do you now move forward? And a lot of the suggestions and thought processes about him or about them moving forward has not exactly been productive, right? So we started with the just recast. Okay, cool. I think a lot of us wanted that, and we wanted to see the mantle continue to be carried. That's fine. I would have been fine with that. I think it would have been cool. I think it would have been something to work with. But I also didn't think about the people involved. And a lot of people involved are going to be emotional in that sense, just as we were about his passing and the watching of it. So with that, you end up in a position where they're still grieving. They felt the power of what it was that he brought to that character. They felt the power of what it was he brought to the MCU as a whole and to the culture. But, and so with that, or not, and with that, decided to try and do a different avenue. Now, I personally would have continued the role, but I also wouldn't have been mad if they made Shuri the Black Panther, because that is comic book accurate, or if they had worked something else out. The current argument that I've seen from speculation, because they don't know what the script is, and even if somebody has inside details, the way in which people react, they don't know the fullness of how there's going to be script changes or different scenes added. What they've said is they're going to go into the future and have Black Panther's son. And for them, or at least the complaint I saw, was they wanted to stop the fatherless narrative. And the thing is, where do you win? Where do you win in live action adaptations when we come to love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or good God, I can't think of his name, but the guy who plays Wolverine, for whatever reason, I can't think of his name, but you come to love these people, and you're not really going to be used to seeing them in any other way. And that kind of becomes a problem. And they understand that problem. Hollywood studios understand the issue of succession a little bit better than most people. The only issue with them is, while they understand the issue with succession, they also understand that they need a product. If Tom Holland passes tomorrow, God forbid, they're still going to push through and add another Spider-Man at some point, and sometime soon, because he is a huge cash cow for them. They're definitely going to recast that. They might not, do it right off the cuff, but they would definitely recast it because of the general popularity and the fact that they've already done it 2 to 3 times. So, it's awkward. It's strange to see the ways that these kind of battles happen, and it's especially more meticulous in anime, because there are so many aspects of a character that you have to get right. You can't take a look at Iron Man, or you can't take a look at Iron Man and make him your own, but you can't take a person like Luffy and make him into somebody you want him to be. The thing with anime characters on the screen is they pretty much have to be accurate to the person. It's not an interpretation. It's not something that anime fans will just accept if they see a character that is trying to interpret Luffy. The Dragon Ball Evolution movie in general, the reason why it's so terrible is because they take nothing from the source material. They just make everything up. They just do away with really cool and important things and shift it to make it something that is unrecognizable from the original series, that's unrecognizable from Dragon Ball Z, and the person probably either never heard of it outside of the name, and had a terrible script sitting in front of them that they thought, well, the popularity of the series in and of itself is going to be enough to get people to come in and watch. And it just wasn't. Same thing with the Avatar, the last Airbender movie, with M. Night Shyamalan doing that. And it was no, again, the thing that we want is the story is already amazing. If we want to see it in live action, we kind of want to see that. We want to see a live action adaptation, not a reimagining. At least not without being told that it's a reimagining. Um, the last time we did this on Wednesday, we talked about reboots, and would you rather have a reboot or would you rather something have a continuation? Majority of us pick continuations unless the original whatever it was is just purely terrible. You're not often going to end up in those positions where it's close to what it is that I want. Um, with this current onslaught of the or current overpopularization of the anime culture, which is good for us because we're able to build a much stronger and bigger community, especially over here at Gray Area Anime. But the crux of it is now we're getting into the microwave creation period where they don't want to lose the momentum. They don't want to lose the fandom. They want to take all of these things that pull people like us back in, because it's not that people haven't seen Yu Yu Hakusho, that newer fans haven't, but the younger fans who got to watch it as it was coming out on Cartoon Network, as things were building up, who were able to get the DVD sets when DVDs were when the dubs were available to us from a lot of these older series that had ended years prior to them being in America. They just hold a special vintage spot. They hold a place in our hearts that you want to see actualized on screen. You can see that with, like I said, the Death Note thing, where when we watched the anime Death Note, I remember the first time I watched it and I watched it through, and I was just completely and utterly blown away. Spoiler alert. I'll just say this. Once a certain person dies, it wasn't the same for me. The ending was still somewhat satisfying, but not as satisfying as it would have been for someone else to have won. And when they're talking about the situation um, of the live action aspects or things that they're attempting to do, right? I wish that they would have taken more time and care for how it was they were going about executing the this how they were executing the actual showing of it. Man, y'all, I done got to the point where it's like my brain freezes so hard, and I'm just like, I have a whole train of thought, lose it. But yeah, it's really hard to kind of take a lot of these things seriously to even understand what it is that they're thinking outside of money. And money doesn't lead to good projects all the time. It would if the person that is doing the project does not have the money and is blessed with the money to create this passion product or passion piece that they've been working on for their entire lives because it's something that they needed to get out. And the only thing they were lacking was money, or the lack of money creates an ingenuity that is non-existent if you don't have to be creative, if you don't have to create things out of that. But there's so many catch-22s and so many different situations where you don't necessarily know how to move forward on some things, right? So I don't know. I'm expectant for what it is that they're gonna do with these live action adaptations, especially the One Piece one. I want to see what their plan is, because the hardest thing with this One Piece adaptation that I don't know will be addressed, I don't know how they're gonna go about attacking it. One Piece is a long-standing series. It's at 1,031 chapters, or 1,032 by today. Hold on, let me see. Let us check, because I know it's 1,030 something, but let's see what the actual. Yeah, so it's 1,031 chapters currently, right? So at 1,031 chapters and approaching, let's see, at least over 1,000 animated uh, animated pieces of animated stuff. The actual anime is at 1,000 or whatever, right? Ooh, I'm so far behind. We got a lot of animes we got to watch and catch up on. But anyway, but if you're at, let's see, we are at, yeah, we're 2 episodes away from 1,000 anime episodes, right? And the issue lies in how are they going to keep all this together? Like, we age differently than a drawn animation. That's the other issue with live adaptations, is the actors age. I mean, so you have this long running series, you have to cut stuff. You either have to cut stuff or you have to increase production and have people there for a very long time. This, I think, is incredibly difficult with One Piece because of how long it is. What is Netflix's intention? Because I believe they said the people that are doing it are fans, which does not give me any peace. But what is it that they're going to do for the longevity of the series? Is your intent to push these out every other season? So you do 3 months of recording and then, or however long you need to do a recording, and then you're out the next, or you're out every quarter. You know, are you releasing first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, which is seasonally for those of you that don't understand that lingo. So that way you can get to more of the story. Are you starting in a different place? Are you attempting to take whatever it is that you would like to do again and reimagine the story so that way you're able to get through things a lot faster than what the anime would have? Do you intend to skip filler? Because as a show, you don't have time for filler. You don't have time for a beach episode or something like that if your intentions are not to continue this series for a long time. So, while not being quite sure what the intentions are for the series as a whole, I don't know how much I can actually stand behind in regards to all of this, because I'm also trying to figure out how they're wanting to go about all this, right? And you want to be able to see what their intentions are, basically. And that says a lot about what you'll get and what you're going to be expecting going forward. Because these series are beloved. The Yuyu Hakusho one, I'm not really sure, because I think there's a lot of ways that they can cut the series down and be able to kind of run through that series. But whether or not that'll be something that they do is something that's still to be seen. Let me see something, because we were supposed to have a guest. Because on Wednesdays, as you guys know, we only go for only 30 minutes on the Wednesday. We give ourselves a little bit of breathing room so that way we can work on a couple other things that we have going on as well. There will be episodes of Gray Area Anime coming back this week, probably tomorrow. Sorry about the miss of the Thursday episode. Birthday was last week, so we weren't able to get in recording schedule as easily as I would have liked. And we had a couple things moving around, but the thing I think is most important: do you actually love this material? Are you interested in showcasing this material in a live action way? Are you interested in pushing yourself in a directorial sense, in a writing sense, to take a step forward, to bring these things to life? Are you more adamant about the money that you would have a Game of Thrones and how that the last season ended there? Are you Percy Jackson in those two movies, which a lot of people don't think did the books a service? Like, where are you in this process? Where are they in this process? Where are they building to? What are they expecting? And ultimately, what is their what is their hope for blah, blah, blah. What is their hope for these things that they're creating? So I really hope that a lot of these live action adaptations are good. I do. Yeah, I hope that they don't let us down. I hope that they don't put us in a place where we are upset, because that's the worst thing about things now is there isn't much bad news. So if we all talk bad about the One Piece series, it's a complete and utter train wreck when it comes out, right? Well, then that's publicity. And then if nothing else, people are going to go watch it to see how terrible it is. And because you went and watched it, then that's more views or streams or whatever for that medium. And therefore it's still popularized, and either they're giving it another chance, which I'm not like upset about, or, they just keep going with what's bad because they know that you're going to talk about it. With the group thinking mindset, we don't have that cutoff spirit as much as we say in terms of cancel culture, unless you are offended in a certain way. And then that becomes something that can be canceled. But TV wise, like, the person on the show has to be terrible themselves, do something that is, unforgivable for that person to be cut off. But then again, they might just recast, So I hope that they take the time to kind of understand that you do have people that have enjoyed these series for a very long time. They want to see these series done right. They don't want to see these series just thrown on, like I said, for your interpretation of how you feel it should go. Because the thing that I think I got to work on these transitional things. One of my thoughts on anime, and I was thinking about this the other day. I'm playing Bravely Default 2 on my Switch. And my biggest thing with playing that game is I enjoy the Japanese voice actors, because I think that with the lines that are delivered as I'm reading the translation, there's a better connection point. I'm able to understand it better. I'm able to feel the emotion better. So as I'm reading the subtitles in English, I can understand what it is they're saying. I have a connection point. Whereas when it's the American actors, a lot of the times you wonder if they've actually read up on these characters, if they read up on the game, or are they just coming in and doing some voice acting? The Japanese actors may do the same thing, but the way it comes across and the execution of it is so vastly different that I just don't think, I don't think it hits the same. And no matter what game it is, if there is a switch to where I can get Japanese voices and English subtitles, I'm always going to do it. I am one of those subbed over dubbed people. And you choose what you want to choose, but I do it because I just think that they take more time. And I know a lot of people, like, if your only criticism of doing dubbed over sub is that you don't have time to read, then that doesn't, lessen my point of the sub being better. It just says you have a busy schedule, and that's understandable, but at the same time, if you end up disliking something, I always say try it the original way that it was intended. For instance, if you go to a Mexican restaurant or any cultural restaurant and you don't see anyone of that culture in said restaurant, hey, you're rolling the dice. It's not to say that a person of another culture can't cook something very well that is not of their culture, and that's also to say that a person of the culture can't, it's not like they can't cook something bad as well. But the point more so being that you get what you get. If it's terrible, don't blame the person that is outside of their element doing whatever. Blame the other people. 1 second, gotta sneeze. As it runs away from me, that dirty sneeze. Um, but yeah, so you just kind of have to assess things from a different standpoint. Um, and it's just really hard to kind of think these people will understand the culture and understand this thing that we have all come to love so much. Like, if you're a lover of anime and you haven't hit the heart button, what's wrong? Why do you not want to subscribe to something that talks about the things that you love and is happy you're here? And we'll always be happy that you're here because, oh man, this is what happens when you get set up too quick. 1 second. Because Kirby says, hi, and it's dangerous to go alone. So I choose you guys. And with that, you know, why would you not join this community is what I'm saying. You know, you get all these hiccups and mistakes and glasses taking off and all that other good stuff. But yeah, so it's one of the things that I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do. I'm interested in seeing where they're attempting to go with it, where they want to take the series, where they want to take all that they're doing, right? Because they don't necessarily, in a lot of these different situations, these people do not owe us anything, right? They don't owe us a perfect adaptation, and that's their expectation. They are coming into this and they're going to do what they feel is best, what they think works best for their viewers or whoever it is that they're doing it for. And I don't grudge them for that, right? I grudge them more so for their lack of understanding that there are people who love this content, who are inspired by this content, who are made happy through this content, and you know that's pretty much it. So I do hope that the One Piece live adaptation is great. I hope the Yu Yu Hakusho one is great. I hope that Cowboy Bebop ends up being amazing. It is not just, you know, some silly farce. They seem as though they're going to stay kind of in line with the story, but take some liberties to take out the things that either they couldn't do or they felt didn't serve a purpose in this day and age, which is also a difficulty because we are overly sensitive about certain things. You do need to upgrade and change a lot of problematic things. So don't hear me wrong. But at the same time, it also makes it very difficult to just recreate, because then people who never found this to be a problem, never saw it, never watched it, don't know anything about it, will never watch it, then they have the opinions and their opinions end up being everything. That's the one thing that I hate the most, is an uninformed person's opinion who's now matters. Like, you're uninformed and somehow your opinion matters than someone who is informed, or someone who is at least willing to kind of have a conversation so that way we can kind of meet in a better point. But anyway, I will see you guys later on today. We'll probably do some more conversation, and I'll probably bring Prima Diva in so that way we can talk about the live adaptations as well to see her thoughts on it. And I may be on a little bit later because I was supposed to have a guest. I think they were a little bit detained or working or busy. So we're going to try and get them on a little bit later. But I appreciate you guys for being here with me. If you're on Facebook, make sure you like the Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like. So that way we can continue doing this with more content. And if you're on Twitch, hit the heart and just follow. You don't have to subscribe. You ain't got to donate. You ain't got to get no bits. You ain't got to do none of that. just want you to hit the heart so that way you'll know when we go live, so that way you can join the gray area anime community. But until